Now, time for our scripture lesson. My scripture reading today is Genesis chapter 19, verses 15 through 26. At dawn the next morning, the angels became insistent. Hurry, they said to Lot. Take your wife and your two daughters who are here. Get out right now, or you will be swept away in the destruction of the city. When Lot still hesitated, the angel seized his hand and the hands of his wife and two daughters and rushed them to safety outside the city, for the Lord was merciful. When they were safely out of the city, one of the angels ordered, "Run for your lives and don't look back or stop anywhere in the valley. Escape to the mountains or you will be swept away." "Oh, no, my Lord," Lot begged. "You have been so gracious to me and saved my life, and you have shown such great kindness, but I cannot go to the mountains. Disaster would catch up to me there, and I would soon die. See, there is a small village nearby. Please let me go there instead. Don't you see how small it is? Then my life will be saved." "All right," the angel said. "I will grant your request. I will not destroy the little village, but hurry, escape to it, for I can do nothing until you arrive there." Lot reached the village just as the sun was rising over the horizon. Then the Lord rained down fire and burning sulfur from the sky of Sodom and Gomorrah. He utterly destroyed them, along with the other cities and villages of the plain, wiping out all of the people and every bit of vegetation. But Lot's wife looked back as she was following behind him, and she turned into a pillar of salt. Thus ends the reading of our scripture, Genesis chapter 19, verses 15 through 26. Life is a school of learning. We're here to learn and we are here to grow. And some of us are focused on our spiritual growth. As we gain knowledge and grow, we learn to release what no longer serves us. We climb the proverbial Jacob's ladder until we reach the top rung of that ladder. Our scripture lesson today focuses on purifying our mind by letting go of the past, letting go of the old habits, of the old ways of thinking, of our fears, or letting go of being submerged in the physical world. Sometimes we hold on to the past because we just don't know how to let it go. Perhaps because it's all that we do know. And we're just not quite sure who we will be without it. It becomes part of our identity. Or maybe because we don't know how to let it go. But if we look back, like Lot's wife did, we may turn into a pillar of salt. If we allow it, the past can paralyze us and it can haunt us for the rest of our lives, stopping us from moving forward, robbing us of the possibilities of today and our future. On this spiritual path, we believe meditation is the gateway to self and God realization. Being able to get into that space where her mind is quiet. For it is when our mind is like the still, smooth, glassy pond that we can hear the whispers of that small voice of God within and around us. And that is when the transformation of our consciousness may occur in the stillness. As we become the master of our mind, our bubble of light begins to expand, blending more and more with the brilliance, the consciousness of God, that infinite space. Now, I recognize it's not always easy to quiet the mind, particularly when our mind is cluttered with debris. And one of the tools we will discuss today is clearing out our mind and emptying the pond, releasing the clutter in our minds by making peace with it. It doesn't go away, but we can make peace with it. In our scripture lesson, the angels told Lot to get out of Sodom and Gomorrah. Initially, Lot hesitated. So the angels removed Lot and his family from the city. He wasn't listening. Then they told him, run for your lives. It's pretty clear. Run for your lives. And don't look back or stop anywhere along the way. And Lot was told to go to the mountains, which represent our higher state of consciousness. Instead of fleeing for his life, as he had been instructed, and heading to the mountains, Lot hesitated. And then he began to bargain with the angels. We got to do it our way. He pled with them to allow him to go to a small village, this small little place, because he felt safer there. And he was hesitant to let go of what no longer served him. Even though he was being guided to a higher realm. Lot was warned. He was warned of the destruction that was about to come, meaning that if he stayed where he was in consciousness, he would be consumed in that destruction. And the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, they represent the purification of our mind that occurs when things are completely burnt to the ground. The angels encouraged him to let go of the past, but he was hesitant to listen and to leave what he knew behind, to climb to the top of that mountain. And he felt safer in a smaller place. But perhaps for Lot, these were the baby steps he needed to take. The angels agreed to keep him safe in the small city, and they cautioned him not to look back. But Lot's wife didn't listen. She looked back. It says she turned into a pillar of salt. And what is salt? Salt is a preservative. It helps to keep food on the shelf for years. And it also helps to preserve the past. By preserving the past, we can become stuck in it. And it too will stay on the shelf until we are ready to confront it or toss it out. So, what can we learn from Lot's wife? She teaches us that holding on to our past may impede us from moving forward. Sometimes we just need to completely let go. Letting go of whatever it is in our lives. Old ways of thinking, old habits, our pain, whatever it may be. Because if we don't, it can impact us for years to come. Many of us, myself included, have things that occurred to us in the past which have caused us great pain. If we don't resolve them, they can affect us for the rest of our life. Now, I'm going to share a very personal story with you. Some of you may or may not know this about me, but I lost my brother Michael in a car accident when I was 10 years old. The pain was unbearable. I didn't know how to process this pain as a child. So I stuffed my feelings and I tried to pretend that it didn't happen. I tried to imagine maybe it was somebody else that day. And soon, my self defense mechanism was to not allow anyone in. Because if I didn't love anyone, I wouldn't get hurt when I lost them. And I didn't know how to process that pain. I knew I didn't want to feel that pain again. And I distinctly remember as a young teenager telling myself, I'm a rock, and rocks are strong, and nothing can hurt a rock. Like Lot's wife, it turned me into a pillar of salt. Fast forward 20 years, when I was on my spiritual path, and it was time to take what I had preserved off the shelf and look at it. I came to realize how much I was losing out on by being a rock and keeping my walls up so high that nobody could get in. And I learned that it was far, far greater to have loved someone and lost them than to never have loved them at all. It was time to let it go. It was time to make peace with it. It was time to purify my mind. This was a huge lesson for me, and I am grateful I got to the point where I made peace with it. I learned that I wanted to love and to be loved with all my heart, to feel again. And yes, I lost people after that. But the tears felt good because it meant that I felt again and it meant that I loved again. Even though my loved ones are not in the physical, I carry their love in my heart forever, and that I will cherish. This realization and purification was necessary for me to move forward on my spiritual path. During our annual meditation retreat in Georgia, the CSA minister spoke about making friends with the monsters under our bed. Sometimes these monsters can grip us in fear and immobilize us so much that we become stuck where we are, afraid to leave our room, and we lock ourselves into our own prison walls. And soon our world becomes smaller and smaller until we get to the point where we believe in our mind there is no way out. The speaker shared the idea of making friends with the monsters under our bed, to make friends with our past or the fears of the monsters under our bed. He said, we want to resolve to dissolve. And this is a direct quote from the former head of CSA, Roy Eugene Davis, who is a disciple of Yogananda. Resolve to dissolve. And his words really resonated with me because we often deal with issues by stuffing them into this nice little suitcase. Then we take the suitcase and we tuck it nicely back into the back of our mental closet. We have this special little place for this suitcase. But what happens when we stuff it away? They don't go away. They're still there. They remain in the back of our closet, waiting for us until we are ready to deal with them. When we look at them and face them, now we can resolve to dissolve them and we can make peace with them, freeing our mind. They're still there. We make peace with them and they don't own us any longer. When we go through life carrying the suitcase of our past, becomes so heavy and so full that all of our energy is focused on carrying this suitcase around with us. Then what happens? Well, now we don't have any room to carry anything else, to build anything else, because we're too busy carrying this suitcase. No room for joy, no room for imagining our dreams, creating our happiness. Our focus is just getting through the day. In my case, I went into a deep meditation and I realized the little girl in me was afraid to love because she didn't want to get hurt again. And I dove into this pain. And by diving into it, I dissolved it. I acknowledged it. But I also then realized told myself how much I was missing out on. And I gave myself permission to love again. I created a path forward to learn from this lesson. By dissolving and neutralizing whatever it is that we are holding on to, we are making peace with it, not allowing it to define who we are, claiming that we are whole and perfect, allowing our light to shine brightly within us. To become self and God realized, cleansing and purification of our mind is necessary and part of the process. Our mind needs to be still and clear so we can hear. Smooth as glass. When the pond of our mind is muddy and cluttered, it's difficult to find that clarity. We want the pond of our mind to be free of obstructions so we may see more clearly. When we see clearly, we can now expand our consciousness, expand our world, immersing ourselves in the sea of consciousness of God, opening ourselves up to so much greater things, learning and growing. If someone or something hurt us in the past and we're holding on to it, the only person we're hurting is ourselves. When we stay there, that is the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah that scripture is speaking of. By resolving to dissolve, we neutralize the past, our fears, and the monsters under our bed. And they can't hurt us anymore. Instead of running from them, we face them and accept them. What can we learn from this lesson? And take the knowledge with us, but leave the pain behind. Make peace with it and learn to live in the present moment. When these feelings bubble up, ask for divine guidance in your meditation as to how you can dissolve them. Stop. Interrupt the impulse or reactions. Take a step back. Then observe. Decide how to move forward and proceed mindfully. We want to get to the space where we act rather than react. The destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah represent the stage of the purification of our mind and letting go. It's part of the process of our growth. If we hold on to it, always remember that salt may easily be dissolved. We don't have to remain a pillar of salt. We can resolve to dissolve, purifying our mind to create the conditions for our spiritual growth. In doing so, we gain the knowledge by learning the lesson, and we keep the knowledge and let the rest go. And now our mind is free of the clutter, and we can move forward to climb the highest mountaintop on our spiritual path. expanding the bubble of our consciousness and the awareness of that divine spark of God that is within us, living in the present moment, loving, laughing, and appreciating all the joys on our journey. Many blessings to you. Namaste.